Hey everybody, it's Mason. Welcome to another video. I've made like 6 videos in the meantime since my last one, and I just have always deleted them because I just run out of steam or I get self-conscious. But I decided I wanted to start uploading again, and I really needed to follow through with some of the topics that I wanted to make. So here we go. I think the reason I get a little self-conscious when thinking about uploading videos is that I know that the way that I like to record, I like to just ramble a bit, and it gets rambly and I get self-conscious, and I, don't have the time to go through and like really fine, comb edit a lot of these videos. And so they just end up being like little mini podcast episodes. And if that's what it's going to be, then that's just, what it's going to be. I'm not going to get too self-conscious about it. I'm just going to upload this. Like I said in some of my other videos, this channel is really about me just kind of getting things off my chest and just airing out thoughts that I have. It's, more for me than anybody else. And if people happen to tune in, that's cool. I wanted to talk about something that has kind of, I don't know, it hasn't irked me, but I see a way that a lot of writers are kind of shooting themselves in the foot. And I spend a lot of time in different writing online spaces, and I hear this sentiment from time to time, and I think that it limits people and it limits our writing. And, rather than get into online debates, which, never does anything beneficial for anybody, I'd rather just kind of, air my perspective out here on this channel. And so this is the idea of having preferences as a writer, having things that we like. And I think there's 2 things I kind of need to, separate when we make this discussion. I think that there are preferences where we say, I don't like writing in first person perspective, or I don't like this genre, or I hate this trope, I'll never touch this trope, or I don't like this writing style, I always do this other writing style. I think these are the kind of preferences that I'm, referring to. And I think that they are for readers. I think that having these types of preferences are for readers. I don't think they're necessarily for writers. And I'll get kind of into what I mean by that in just a second. And I know it's kind of a weird gray area because we are readers, most of us that are writers, we study books and other people's writing. So we are readers to a certain extent. But I think that this idea of preferences limits us. I think that having this preconceived notion about what we like, what we think is best, what we think sucks, is very limiting. I think that we are putting, a stopper in some of the different avenues that we can take by putting these, limits in place. And I think that to me, writing always boils down to execution. I think it always boils down to how is the idea executed. And I think that everybody should have that mindset. I know that sounds very shallow. I have this mindset. Everybody should have this mindset. But I think being as open-minded as possible when it comes to creating art is a pretty good thing. I don't think it's really hard to argue against. I think that when we say these things like, I don't like third person, it sucks, or I don't like first person present tense or whatever, it's for YA books or whatever. Whenever we have these preconceived notions, same with our tropes, when we say like, oh, I hate enemies to lovers, I don't like that trope, or I love this trope, I'll always use it, blah, 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 blah. I think that having these preconceived notion is just limiting because it's all about the execution. I think that a trope that is overdone and overused, if executed properly within the confines of a story, can be quite powerful. And I think that a really unique concept that is not used as often can not be powerful if it's not executed properly. And so I think it really boils down to execution, how the story is told. And so saying, I don't want to use first person perspective, I don't want to write in this genre, I don't want to use this trope, I think that by saying all of this, we're not allowing ourselves to have access to all of the tools in the writer's toolkit. And I think that, another metaphor is like we want to have all the colors available on the palette as an artist. We want to have all of the tools at our disposal. Now, obviously, there's things that we tend towards. It's not like we just need to completely empty our mind of all, preference when we go into writing. I think that there are things that we tend towards. I tend to write in first person. I tend to write more literary fiction-esque stuff because I feel like that's what I'm better at. And I think that we definitely tend towards certain things that fit our strong suits, our strengths, and we try to stay away from things that accentuate our weaknesses. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, having things that we tend towards. But I think it's important still to keep an open mind about what other possibilities are out there. I don't really write a lot of like fantasy type stuff, but if there is some fantasy element that I could incorporate into a certain story that I'm writing that would elevate it, then why not? Why not have that tool at my disposal instead of saying, well, I'll never touch fantasy. It's never for me, or I'll never mess with romance. It's weird to me sometimes when I hear writers talk about like, I'll never touch this genre. I only write in this genre. It's like, we're writers. Like, we should have every tool at our disposal. And like I said, there's things we tend towards, there's things we're better at, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just think that we can limit ourselves by, cutting off certain tools that are available, because like I said, it's all about the execution. It's all about how the story is being told. And I think when we think about things like genre, when we think about tropes, when we think about perspective, writing style, I think all of it boils down to what serves this story best. And I think that is the ultimate question. I think that nothing else really matters in regards to our preference. If this story is better written in first person, then let's go first person. If it's better written in, a certain flowery writing style or something, then shoot, let's go that way. And I think that obviously the things that we tend towards, the things that we're better at, those will more than likely contribute to a better story because we're better at it. But I still think it's good to keep an open mind towards different things. And I mentioned this whole thing kind of was brought to my attention when I participated in a lot of writing contests, and and some of those writing contests are like peer judged, and I hear people mention things like, I really would judge a story higher if it includes this trope, or I guess reverse. They would say I wouldn't, I would judge this story lower because I hate this trope, and it's like you're a writer and you're judging a story with this preconceived notion of a trope that you like or dislike. It just seems weird to me. It's like, how is it executed? That's all that matters. Like for a story quality, to me, like that is the most important thing, is how it was done, how the story was told. And I just think that we should keep an open mind as writers into the different tools that we have available to us and the different ways that we can make them work. So that's the basics of this little rant that I wanted to go on. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of air my thoughts out in a space that's just my own, where I don't feel like I'm rubbing up against anybody. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully be uploading some more videos soon, just talking about stuff. Yeah, until the next one. Bye.